I better get started on this one. 2012 A4 Quattro, 113,000 miles. Can you hear that engine? The check engine light flashing. That means it's got a catalyst damaging misfire. I already let it sit out here long enough for the neighbor's cat to start climbing up on my hood. Oh, I hate cats. Especially because they had a sign over there that said free kittens, and then guess what? Like 2 weeks later, you see a bunch of kittens roaming the neighborhood. Ah, look at this thing shaking. It's shaking pretty good. What's wrong with it? Well, here's the first thing I'm gonna do. Just for the fun of it, I'm gonna see if, look, this is already broken right here. There's a tab right here, already broken. This one's not broken, that one's not broken, this one's not broken. Okay, so now it just revved down because on a cold start, this does not have secondary air. Now, some of these engines did have secondary air injection, but on this particular model, to get the catalytic converter warmed up faster, it just revs up higher and it just runs at an increased RPM. So we got this shake here. Let's see. You can see the engine shaking. It's missing on a cylinder. Let's see if cylinder 1 has anything to do with it. Now, I should go grab a tool and take this 10mm. I might as well. Always use the correct tools for the job. Never skimp by and just use pliers on stuff. Unless they're Knipex. Now, what I'm going to try to do is I'm just going to see if I can pull one coil at a time and see if it makes any difference. Oh, that really made a difference. So we're going to plug that one back in. Now I'm going to see if I can sneak number 2 out. Oh man, I unplugged 1 and 2 at the same time because this one... Okay, we'll try that again. I gotta hold... See, I'm holding the camera as well. Let me go start this thing back up. All right. Now we'll come back around here. I'm gonna see if I can sneak number 2 out. That made it worse. Plug that back in. I'm gonna sneak number 4 off. That made it worse. I'm gonna sneak number 3 off. This one's gonna be a little bit tricky. I'm pretty sure I sneaked that one off enough and it's not making any kind of change. I'm pretty sure it's cylinder number 3. So now I'm just going to take them all the way out. I'm going to pull number 3 coil out and see if it still runs like this. So, I guess I got to turn it off. So I just got done pulling all these back and I just yanked that coil out by hand. Now we're going to start it back up and see if it runs the same without that coil in at all. Would you look at that? It runs the same exact way without that coil. It's completely missing on cylinder number 3. It's dragging that cylinder, doing absolutely nothing. Now, is that going to do actual engine damage? Like, is it scoring the cylinder or whatever? Well, only really if the piston's damaged. Like, if the piston skirt blew apart, or my other theory is it's either got a broken valve spring or a burnt valve. So, just for good measure, I'm going to take this coil and put it back in, but I'm not going to put this coil back in. I'm going to go ahead and toss a new spark plug and a new coil in, just because that's the quickest, easiest thing to do. But really, we need to get to compression test and leak down test, because I don't think it's a coil or a spark plug. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gotten this car. I was gonna get my laser temperature thermometer gun, and I was gonna show you that you can actually come over here to the exhaust manifold. You would have to get pretty close down in there, maybe bend this flap up a little bit, but you could shoot the exhaust runners and try to figure it out that way. That works a lot better on different engines other than this. But I'm almost positive, like I said, that it's not gonna be an ignition coil or a spark plug. So what I've got here is, I just pulled my tools out, and if you use your spark plug socket as much as me, oh wow, someone really cranked those plugs in. Not smart to over torque the plugs in aluminum heads, which pretty much every head is going to be aluminum. You can strip the threads out. Now it's getting stiff. Man, whoever worked on this thing, look, this is proof that whoever worked on it didn't know what they were doing. They marked these exhaust cam actuators, 2, 3, 4, 5, so they tried to put them back in order. It didn't matter. I heard one person on a YouTube channel trying to tell people stuff, and they said that these were injectors. So I won't get too off topic, but apparently someone put a cylinder head gasket on this when it's never just a cylinder head gasket. Let's see what the spark plugs look like. This spark plug in particular, it's got some crud on it, but it's not like horrible. Now, anyway, what I was saying is a lot of times the rubber grommets are bad in your spark plug socket, so you might want to have a magnet handy. In this case, I'm just going to toss the compression tester in here, and I'm going to go ahead and connect it, and then we're going to, I don't even care, I was gonna say I don't care, I'm gonna go ahead and start the engine, but I shouldn't do stuff wrong. I guess I should go ahead and, you know, what you're supposed to do is disconnect the fuel pump fuse, run it out of fuel, the engine is supposed to be at operating temperature, the throttle valve is supposed to be open. You could also disconnect these coils. Really all we're trying to do is crank the engine over to see if this cylinder has compression. If you're using a really cheap compression gauge that bleeds air off, sometimes it's nice to do like this so you can really make sure exactly what's happening and you can watch it through the windshield. So I'm gonna do it for production value anyway, because I'm doing everything by myself always. And now we're gonna crank the engine and see what it does. Would you look at that? We're building 15 PSI of compression. Okay, the rest of the stuff is gonna be in a different video. Tell me your theories, tell me what you think is wrong with this. Man, just sitting here, I'm looking at this hood, and someone painted this hood really bad. It's not just the glare. I can get in here and I can see that it's going to be a little bit difficult to pick up on camera, but look at you can see it better through the windshield actually, but I can see it with my eyeballs perfectly. Anyway, you can't see it on camera. Next video. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and if you would pay for a hoodie like this or something similar, then tell me in the comments, because I'm trying to figure out how to make this thing work.